From the Fathead Studio in Speedway, Indiana, this is The Skinny.
Maybe I need to start in the trash truck business.
Don't rule it out.
So my body holds about 11 units of blood, the average human body, guy my size, and I had 22 units put in because I had 2 full oil changes.
He's airborne, and then I'm above him.
Inverted.
All at the same time. Yeah, you're just like, wow, that's a wild picture.
Boom, and then it goes boom, and it comes back out.
I hang up on the guy. I go, who's this? This is Deion Sanders. I go, yeah, nice try. See you later.
Bounce and then this insane roll. That thing sent it.
No. It's okay, we come back. They just do it.
Man, am I still pretty? And he's like, you ain't pretty, but you're going to be all right.
If I was a few years older, you might be calling me Grandpappy. That's like, all right.
Hi, I'm Tony Stewart.
I'm Scott Dixon.
I'm Mario Andretti.
I'm Christy Lee.
I'm Travis Pastrana.
Hey, I'm Antron Brown.
Hi, I'm Krista Baldwin, and this is The Skinny.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to The Skinny. We're in Indianapolis, Indiana. We absolutely love it here because it's loaded with some of the best racers in the industry. We have one in the studio with us today. I'm Ken Stout, Rico Elmore, and our special guest is Krista Baldwin. For our fans at home, if you're not familiar with Krista Baldwin, she's busy trying to make a name for herself in the NHRA top fuel ranks, has driven a fuel car. Nitro-injected car that runs in top alcohol dragster. She also drove a front-engine dragster. She, from what I was able to acquire, I hesitate in saying this. I find it hard to believe, to be quite honest with you. But what I read was you're the first third-generation racer in the NHRA, which is pretty cool.
Yes, the first third top fuel racer.
And top
yes,
fuel.
and top
Okay.
fuel, yeah.
That makes me feel a little bit better. So, and to put it in perspective, her grandfather is the Greek. Yes, Chris Karamessinas. Very, very cool. Do you pronounce it Karamessinas?
Yes, you're pronouncing it correctly.
Okay. How about that? Got one?
Yeah, we do have people that watch the show and critique it and send nasty grams.
Well,
Oh, yeah. I got beat up.
to pronounce it's one thing, but can you spell it?
It's Karamessinas.
There you go.
I can spell Greek, the Greek.
There you go.
And some of his early cars were the Chisler, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then her father, unfortunately, left us way too soon. But that is Bobby Baldwin, who also competed in Top Fuel. So you're a third-generation racer in Top Fuel. Congrats.
Thank you. And it's awesome. Believe me, like a lot of people ask me, were you forced to do this? And absolutely not. I chose to do this. I knew since I was a kid, being at the races with my grandpa and my dad and my family and my mom, this is what I wanted to do. I mean, it's just absolutely mind-boggling when you take a step back and just realize what we are able to accomplish in 3 seconds. I mean, how much horsepower, how much motor, how much clutches you have to go through on this thing. And it's just absolutely insane that I get to pilot this land rocket for fun.
We've had that conversation with some of the drivers. Matter of fact, you just saw Antron Brown. You guys were crossing paths, and I think he might have been one of them. But everything that has to happen mechanically for that car to go down the well, not the quarter mile anymore, 1,000 foot. Is it 1,000 foot or 875? I think they bumped the boats to like 875. But to wrinkle, to have the fuel pour in and the mag, fire off enough electricity to run a small city, and the tire to wrinkle, like you said, the clutches start to slip and the tires wrinkle up. I mean, there's so much that has to happen. And to think that you go from point A to point B, just short of 340 miles an hour.
Yes.
In the span of a little more than 3.5 seconds is mind-boggling.
It is. And the way I explain it, especially to newcomers, every part of the race car, of me, of the crew chief, of the crew, me actually driving the car, it's all a puzzle. And so every single piece has to be absolutely perfect in order to complete that puzzle. And that's in order for us to make a perfect run. And that's the other part of like drag racing that just like fires me up, because every time I get in that car, I have to be absolutely perfect. It is up to me how to get that car down the racetrack. It's up to my crew chief to get that thing, be able to get down the tricky part of the shake zone or whatever it may be. It's up to my crew to make sure that every nut and bolt and I'm safe in this literally ticking time bomb that's behind me. And so that's also like the thrill of it too, is like there are no second chances in drag racing. It's run what you brung, and you better get there first.
Awesome stuff. As you can tell, she has a ton of energy. We are off and running with Krista Baldwin. Stay with us. We have plenty more to go. We want to learn a lot about this girl. They were probably really ready to
No,
fight.
they were. That's the best part is like the series of photos.
Want to get the skinny on other guests and different types of motorsports? Check out our YouTube page and get the skinny. The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. And American Coach. Innovation is our life force.
Welcome back to the Skinny. We have Krista Baldwin in the studio with us here. She's also a local in the Indianapolis area, if my homework is correct. However, spends her days working with McLeod, if I'm not mistaken. Did I say that correctly?
Who are you trying to talk
Paulie.
about?
I mean, is it
Paulie?
Paulie's
Yeah.
company, right?
Paul.
Do you work for that company or for Paulie's race team or both?
Both.
Okay.
So Paul actually has the Wharton Automotive Group, and we actually have five different aftermarket drivetrain components brands. And so I'm the director of marketing for the Wharton Automotive Group, so all 5 of those brands. But I also work on Paul's race team as the general manager. So I feed and get the guys there and make sure all the stickers are right on the race car, make sure Paul is good at the racetrack. And it's definitely, I change my hats quite often throughout the day.
So you have to deal with that Johnny Lindbergh guy?
That guy? Yeah. Yeah. And let me tell you, he's a pain in the ass. Go crew chief. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think there's anybody in the room here that would dispute that.
That is so good. So good.
No, Johnny's awesome. He's been a great addition to our team. Him and Medlin have just turned into this tuning power couple really on the racetrack. And hopefully in the next couple of races, we're going to see those, that progress on race day. Paul has had wonderful time qualifying the car, top half the field at almost every race that we've been to this year. Race day, it's just, we keep missing it just a little bit. So hopefully we get some
racing luck.
We need some luck on Sundays for the funny cars.
How's
So.
Paul feel about it? He's got to love it.
Oh, he does. He absolutely does. Like the fact that he brought on, Johnny Lindbergh, who is a rookie crew chief in the Nitro ranks. Paul loves that, and he loves to, invest into the future.
He's
Is
a
Johnny?
gambler.
He is. He actually just spent a stint in Vegas at the World Series of Poker, and so
Wow.
yeah,
Like he's a stud,
yeah,
like card player. Yeah.
yeah.
But that's interesting. And I thought about that with Johnny. And I mean, he is absolutely beyond talented. And he's a great guy on top of it. And him and Richie Crampton came in, which Richie and I have been close for 20 years. And Johnny, I met Johnny through all those guys, of course. But I mean, he's definitely one of my favorites out there in watching what he's doing and all the knowledge that Johnny already had, but then what he's a sponge to Medlin.
Yes, he is.
And him and Medlin, I was up
You
there.
get something like a Medlin around him. And,
Yeah.
Oh, well, they were up there just going at it. Like, well, what if no, I don't want to do that. Let's do it, and like bantering back and forth. It was super cool.
Well, he's kind of a rebel. He's kind of an outlaw. He's got his own way of approaching everything. So he, I'm sure, takes in the knowledge from Medlin, but then his brain twisted around to another point of view
Yes.
that maybe nobody else has ever thought of before.
That's
He's that
definitely the
good.
dynamic in the crew chief lounge. Like, obviously, when you walk up there, they don't even know you walk into the crew chief lounge because they're sitting there staring at the computers and talking back and forth. But it's been quite the adventure taking this step with Johnny, because Johnny and I have been friends for a long time. We were actually both in the same Drag Illustrated 30 Under 30 issue a couple years ago. So, and I've known Johnny for a long time on the alcohol side. We actually match raced each other one time. He kicked my ass, but nonetheless, it was really fun, and it's just cool to have this experience with him.
Yeah, it's awesome. When we were at commercial break, and I say this all the time, we always have great stories during commercial break, but you had mentioned that you have a great relationship with the Procs, and of course we had the Procs on here as well, and you said, but all the Procs, Mama Proc, and then Daddy Proc, and the brothers, everybody in there, and I did a little bit of reading where your family's actually kind of spent like, was it your mom and their mom that, or all kind of know each other?
Yeah, so Jill and my mom Paula are really, really great friends. And so it's always some crazy party when the two of them are together. And one of my favorite stories is a couple years ago, Clay Milliken had to get out of the seat for Norwalk. So Austin actually stepped in for Clay and we raced each other first round. And so when we figured out Saturday night that we were racing each other, I said, Austin, we got to do a picture. So me and Austin sat there and we pretended we're ready to fight. And then our moms are in the background pretending they're ready to fight.
They were probably really ready to fight.
No, they were. That's the best part is like the series of photos are just like Jill and my mom just like going at it to each other. Me and Austin are just standing there like, what are you doing?
I don't know your mom, but I met Jill one time, and I'm convinced that she would get in the ring with anybody with her son involved. So
I don't think I would be on Jill Proc's bad side.
Right.
she scares me.
She will fillet.
It might be why Jimmy's so quiet.
Maybe.
Sure.
Great stuff, though. So, and obviously, what that leads to is the conversation that you really have grown up in this sport.
Yes. As a third generation driver, I've been there since the beginning. My mom was pregnant with me, backing up my dad in the Top Fuel car. So I've lived and breathed nitromethane since the womb, and it's I absolutely love the journey that I'm on.
Good stuff. We're just getting touching on how she got going in this industry. So stay with us when we come back. We have plenty of questions to figure out how she got from there to here.
Want to get the skinny on other guests and different types of motorsports? Check out our YouTube page and get the skinny.
Hi, I'm Krista Baldwin, and I am here at the skinny, and we're back. I know that was probably wrong.
Oh, no, it was right.
I stole your thing.
We finally got you nervous, got you out of your comfort zone a little bit. Great to have you on the show.
She works TV all the time, so she's playing.
Krista Baldwin in the studio with us. She is the daughter of Bobby Baldwin, former Top Fuel racer, and granddaughter of Chris Kermasinas, a legendary Top Fuel racer, of course, the Golden Greek, as he's referred to. I've got to ask you this. So I'm trying to dig up a little bit of information on you. Obviously, it's obviously going to touch on your grandfather. And I saw where Strange from Strange Engineering said that he was 11 years older than he was. So, and he was 71, I want to say at the time. This was like an interview from 2014 or something. So at any rate, so long, really boring story shorter. Is he 95?
I mean, doesn't he look good for being 110? I don't know what to tell you.
Nobody can get the real age of this guy. Nobody will commit to it. So she falls right in line with the family. But according to that one, but he's over 90. I think drove till he was like 89 years old.
Yep, he was a week shy of his 90th birthday when he stepped out of the car.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was pretty funny because he did it in Vegas, and at that time it was during COVID, so Vegas was our last race. We didn't go to Pomona, and he was racing Leah, and he's like, how fitting that the hottest woman in drag racing gets to race me for the last time.
It was Bob Strange, by the way. I just could not remember Bob's first name. But yeah, I guess he's been friends with Chris forever and ever and ever. But love Chris, that he would show up with that same trailer. As long as I knew, he had that same trailer.
That trailer weighed so much. So he brings his dragster to our old shop in Brownsport to get it wrapped. And we wrapped it in the Lucas wrap. But when it gets there, he rolls it off. He goes, yeah, I kind of had some problems. I said, what's that? He said, well, we try to clear the magnesium. Do you remember this? So they try to clear coat it. And he's like, might as well try it, whatever, right? So it'd be silver, right? Like bright silver. And he goes up to the line and hits it. And when he hits it, the vibration vibrates all the clear coat off of it all over the track. And they are full hot pissed after that.
Oh, yeah.
Because they couldn't get it off the track.
Right, yeah.
They have to scrape the track. And he goes, I think we better just put a wrap on it. So anyhow, that trailer was there. he drops the trailer, leaves in the blue Dodge Dually. Do you still have that?
I actually have the whole setup. It's I
Okay,
still have all of it.
So he leaves, and I'm like, I need to move that trailer. So I take our forklift and hook onto it. It's got the forklift nose dove.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was heavy.
It's not lifting that trailer.
So we used that trailer for my 2 years of me driving Top Fuel. So the first year I drove it just as my grandpa's car. It still had his name on side of the car because I wanted to honor him for the legacy that he is. And so we get to Dallas, our last race of the year. I fly in because I had to work all day. I couldn't drive the rig down, so I had two of my guys drive it down. Well, they decided to play a prank on me, right? I'm in Dallas. I'm at the barbecue place right down the street from the racetrack. They called me up. Hey, we had some issues with the trailer. I'm like, what could have happened, right? And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, all my stuff is in there. Like, what kind of issue is? He's like, they're like, oh, the back door fell off. I'm like,
The ramp door.
yeah, like, I'm like, no, you're kidding me. And they're like, yeah, we had to stop and go pick it up and this and that. And mind you, I am flipping out right now. I'm like, oh my God, the race car and all the clutch discs are on the back of the trailer. Blah, blah. Like, my mind is racing. Yeah, no, we got to the racetrack. They were like, oh, we were just kidding. I'm like, no, you can't joke with
That's
this
when
trailer.
you know they love you.
But you can't joke with this trailer because it could have been true. That's the problem.
That was the best part. Yes, it could have been true.
Oh.
Michael, you had a question at break.
What is your first memory? Because you've been going to the track forever. What was your first memory, true memory that you could think about as a kid going to the racetrack?
Oh, man, that's a toughie. One that just like jumps out at me, especially this happened when I was 6 or 7, when Doug Herbert exploded on the starting line in Pomona. My dad was racing there. And so I'm in the tow vehicle because obviously I'm like 7 years old. And our van and his van are parked off to the side of the racetrack. He blows it up, right? The van in front of me, all the windows got blown out. And I'm in the van behind. And I distinctly remember the concussion and the heat wave coming through me in the van. And I'm like, what happened? And I'm a kid, right? And everyone's on the starting line. And of course, my dad's on the far lane. Doug's in the first lane. So I can't see anything that's happening with my dad. But I just remember just the whoa of like the concussion through the van. It was insane. That's like one of the first like memories I remember, you know.
Is that a memory or something that scarred you?
Both.
That's an impression.
Both, yeah. Yeah. It is just insane. And like we all now like joke with Doug Herbert whenever I see him down in Charlotte. And he's like, oh yeah, your dad was against me for my greatest run ever. Or something like that. But that's probably one of the most distinct memories I have. But I also remember my grandpa and my dad, we used to go up to Spokane for a match race, and they would match race each other. And so me and my mom fly up there. Both rigs are already there. And mind you, I had the coolest childhood. I could decide if I wanted to play with my toys in my dad's rig or play with my toys in my grandpa's rig. And I just bounced back and forth. Like this trailer has this and this trailer has that. And that one has my Barbie, but that one has my race car. Which one am I going to go to next, right?
That.
So I literally just bounced back and forth. We rented a car, obviously, for me and my mom to get to the racetrack. And it was this little tiny car, like a Kia or something like that. And I was just barely big enough to scoot the seat all the way up and hit the pedals and see right over the dash, right? And well, Spokane is a road course. So I told, I'm like 6 at this point. I told Grandpa, I'm like, Grandpa, come with me. I'm going to drive you around. And my grandpa was so scared because I went on the drag strip. I literally did a burnout, backed it up, staged the car, and I hit the gas. And obviously my mom told me this after, you know, years and years later. She said, Grandpa came out of that car and he's like, God, I could have been flipped over in a ditch somewhere and you guys would have never known because she's out here driving this car. I'm like, oh my God.
She would have fit right in with the answers, by the way.
Yeah.
We've got to take a quick break here. We'll be right back with more from Krista Baldwin.
He never wanted me to drive. Never. Like, he was not about it. He was not.
Welcome back to the Fatheads Eyewear Studio. This is The Skinny. We have Krista Baldwin in the studio with us here. She is a third-generation top fuel racer in the NHRA ranks. I want to find out how she got going in that field. We just heard from her talking about her father and her grandfather bouncing back and forth between the trailers at the age of 6, 7 years old. But by the age of 18 years old, you made your debut, I believe it was, in a front-engine dragster of all things.
Yes.
The first thing that came to my mind was it your grandfather's former car?
No, it was not. So to back up a little bit, obviously my dad passed when I was 8 years old. I knew I wanted to drive a race car. I just didn't know how it was going to happen, right? So try to figure out the junior dragster thing, and my dad was best friends with Gary Densham, and Steven Densham was in the junior dragsters at the time, and we were trying to figure it out, and it just nothing came to fruition, right? So I get through half of high school and I get this opportunity to drive this front engine dragster. So I called my grandpa up because my mom's like, you have to ask him for permission. You are not doing this without his blessing. I'm like, okay. So I called grandpa up. I'm like, hey grandpa, I have this opportunity to do this, this, and this. And he's like, well, I guess you could try it out. I'm like, okay.
Where did you grow up?
In Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah, like right near Pomona Racetrack.
Okay.
So
was it at Pomona where you were going to get the chance, or
it was actually at Verona, which is down in San Diego. It's an 8th mile track. And so I called him up. I'm like, hey, do you have any driving lessons? You'll figure it out. Okay, grandpa. Thanks for the confidence, right? So I met Rick McDonald at a car show, a cackle show, and I cackled one of the cars that he was maintaining, the magic car. And he said, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I said, absolutely, because I'm thinking like, oh, this is my chance. I actually get to go down the drag strip in a race car. Like, how cool is that? And plus, it's a front engine car. I mean, how badass is that as an 18-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So it was a 760 race car, 180 miles an hour. I was actually driving a injected Ford motor. Had a little bit of success with that, and I couldn't thank Rick enough because he took a chance on me because I had no clue how to drive a race car. I mean, I've been around it all my life, but just the mechanics of it and just learning where you're at on the racetrack and things like that, like I had to learn it quickly, especially at Verona. It's an 8th mile track. The whole track itself is probably a quarter mile, and the shutdown area is very short, goes into the sand trap, and then it goes right off a cliff. So
nice.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. You know, first time down the racetrack, whatever.
Great place to start.
And you were going 180.
180, yeah.
Wow. So those things are no joke. I mean, they're sketchy.
Yes. Yes, it was pretty sketchy. I drove that for a couple of years as I went through college. And then I finally am getting through college, and I'm like, okay, what's the next step? Injected nitro. Bayfield dragster, 5.2 seconds, 280 miles an hour. This I think I can manage, right? So I meet Anthony DeCero. Actually, I meet Colette DeCero first, who is his daughter. She needed some nail polish because when she was 3 years old, she was helping fill the nitro, and the nitro took her nail polish off. So my friend Jake Sanders calls me up. He's like, do you by chance have any nail polish in your makeup bag? Of course I do, because I'm a chick.
Who would have guessed nail polish would open up a door to drive an 8 fuel car?
Exactly what happened was nail polish and a 3-year-old girl.
I got to tell you, I've heard a lot of paths.
Yeah.
Nail polish.
Never saw that one coming.
Yep. It was literally nail polish what got me to the next step. So I called my grandpa up again. I'm like, Grandpa, I have this opportunity. It's an 8-field dragster. Of course, I had to explain to him what it was. And I'm like, it's in the alcohol dragster lengths, this and that. He's like, okay. And I'm like, look, I'm going to get my license at the Indy test session before the U.S. Nationals. He's like, okay. I'm like, hey, we're going to be like first on the track, like 9 a.m. We're going to be there. Okay, I'll be there. All morning, warmed up the car, no grandpa. No signs of grandpa, no phone call, no nothing. I'm like, oh, man, like maybe he's not coming. Right?
His flip phone stopped working.
Yeah. It's Jenner
Rod. Forest or the old.
They might have been sharing the same one.
Yeah. So I'm literally getting belted in the car in the water box at the U.S. or at Indy. Who comes down the return road in his white van? Grandpa. As we are literally spinning the car over. We are pulling the wires, and here he comes. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, at least he's here. You know what I mean? So I went through the whole process with Anthony DeCero and the Nitro University, and Grandpa was there. Obviously, he signed my license, and it was a really
That's
cool.
awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's
super cool.
I didn't even think about that, but that's incredible.
Yeah, so I get through that and had some success in the alcohol ranks. Knew that I'm itching. Let's put a supercharger on this thing, right? I'm like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready for Top Fuel. So then Grandpa's deciding, okay, maybe it's time for me to step out of the car. So we knew it was coming down to the last couple of races for him. And he's like, all right, first, he never wanted me to drive. Never. Like, he was not about it. He was not giving me any advice. He's like, you'll figure it out on your own. I had to literally prove to him that this is the lifestyle I wanted to live.
I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to take a quick break. No better way to hang one right there than that. You'll have to hear the rest of the story. Stick around.
This is where I want to be, what I've been dreaming of for the last 20 plus years. This is where I want to go.
The Skinny is brought to you by American Coach. American Coach. Innovation is our life force. And Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear. Hardcore since '04.
Welcome back to The Skinny. We're here in the Fatheads Eyewear studio. We have Krista Baldwin telling some great stories, third-generation racer here, and Top Fuel for the NHRA, with her grandfather being Chris Kermasinas the Greek, Bobby Baldwin as well, her father. I want to go back to something you just said, being from Southern California, and you're
She's
going...
got to finish the story.
Going to... She wasn't done?
You hung us.
Oh, that's right. I hung you up.
You hung us at break.
Okay, so my brain's already going on the next subject. So, all right, refresh us. Get us back.
So as I was saying, Grandpa was never a huge proponent of me being in the race car. It took me acquiring my own A-Fuel team, going out to the races on my own, being the team owner, is now when he's starting to see that it's not just a phase.
She wants it.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. She's crazy like the rest of us.
Yes, and obviously I got the gene. Like, we're doing this, and I don't care if it's an uphill battle, which it has been an uphill battle, but so I finally, not necessarily earned his respect, but opened the door of communication with him. And so now I'm at the point where he calls me every other day. What are you doing about the race car? What are you doing about this? Did you change this? This is how you're supposed to drive it. This now, all of the knowledge of 70 years of racing are coming out and is just spewing on me. And I'm like, I don't know, Grandpa. I'm still learning. I don't know.
He's getting you sorted out quick.
Yeah. And so when it came time for Grandpa, he made the decision that it was time for him to be done with the race car, and he wanted to put me in the car. So we did, it took a year before that to, just get the car set up correctly. We had the car completely redone by Dom Lagana. Everything was plumbed. Everything is just perfect. It's a mint car now. And we were able to give him the last couple of races that he wanted. I was able to get my license, and mind you, my favorite part of my Top Fuel journey so far was actually that first time I hit the gas in a Top Fuel car. Let me tell you, I was nervous as hell. I'm like, this is it.
Rightfully so.
This is where I want to be, what I've been dreaming of for the last 20 plus years. This is where I want to go, and this is the opportunity to do it. Get out there, do the burnout, and the burnout is just absolutely wild. Like, I didn't even hit the gas all the way down yet, and I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. Oh my God, I'm doing it, right? So I calm myself back down, get ready to stage the car, hit the gas, and I shut it off before I even get to 60 foot because I made a rookie mistake. My chin strap wasn't tight. I literally hit the gas.
You're not the only one.
I hit the gas and go, wham! And I'm like, I should shut it off. Right? So now I'm pissed, right? I'm cackling the car all the way down the racetrack. I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Am I even going to be able to do this? Like, I'm doubting myself right now. An hour later, we turn around and come back up to the starting. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. This is it. And Dom Lagana and Bobby Lagana were helping us, and he's like, hey, take it as far as you want. Like, you could go to 60 feet again, you could go half track, you go full pull, whatever you want. I'm like, I'll probably get close to half track, but I probably won't make it to half track. They're like, okay, whatever you want. Boom. $3.99. Mind you, Grandpa hasn't been in the threes in like 3 years. And I go out there and just wham, $3.99 on my first full pull.
Was he there?
Oh yeah, he was there. So mind you, I have no radio in the car. Like we just don't have that. So by the time I'm pulling the parachutes, I'm doing all the things, I just have this feeling of like, holy shit, I just did it. But I have no clue what I ran. I'm like, oh my God. And
what did it feel like? What did it feel like you ran? Like 1,000 miles an hour?
Yeah, I honestly, like all I could think of was when the clutch was coming in. When the clutch and the motor locked up, it literally launches you again in the middle of the track. And I'm like, whoa, in the A-Fuel car, it never did that. So that was just like, whoa, oh my God, that was insane, right? So I get out of the top end, and obviously I'm waiting for them because they're all celebrating on the starting line, and I haven't come down yet. I'm just like, okay, well, I'll turn the air bottle off. Like, I'm just waiting, right? And they come out, and Anthony and Jake and all my friends are out there, $3.99. And the coolest part is Grandpa gets out of the car, and he's crying.
Oh.
And so I start bawling, right? I'm like,
Absolutely.
And so that's probably one of like my favorite. I'm going to cherish that moment forever that I have with him, is that moment of just sharing, because he knew what I went through just now, and I know what all the things were, and obviously I knew that like my dad was watching over us and all the things. Like, it was so cool. So anyways, I get through the licensing process, and then I make my debut with Grandpa, and the best part is my debut was in Gainesville the next year. He doesn't even come to the starting line. He goes to the tower. I'm like, okay, you don't want to be on the line to support me? Okay. So I have this really cool video that he's sitting in the media center, and all of my friends obviously up in the media center know what he's doing, what I'm doing. And I have this really cool video of me doing a burnout and him just like intently watching from the tower. And ever since then, he has never missed a run. Even if he's not there, he calls me up. I saw you on the slow-mo. You should have shut it off faster. Like, Grandpa, it was a slow-mo. I think I caught it pretty quick. No, you didn't. You're burning the head gaskets out of it. I'm like, okay.
Got it.
That's great stuff, man. What a wonderful story. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be back with more.
I just won a round win at Pomona with my dad at the end of the racetrack, in my dad's car, with all of my dad's crew and all of my family up in the grandstands.
Welcome back to the Skinny. A nice shot here at the Fatheads Eyewear Studio. That is Miss Krista Baldwin, who has joined us here. Great to have her in the set as well. We've documented a number of stories. Man, you've got some great stories. We knew it was going to happen. First time I had met you, obviously, just a little bit ago, Rico had talked about your personality being.
He goes, "You're going to have to help me." I said, "You won't have to help anything." I said, "She absolutely will run the show."
Yeah.
And I said, "That's just line her up and let her rip."
You've been an outstanding guest for sure. I have a question, something that I had dug up, and it was 2022. And you said that you had been sitting at Pomona at 24-24 for 29 years. What does that mean? What is 24-24?
So 24-24 is the section of the grandstands.
Okay.
And so section 24 is literally right at 1,000 feet. I grew up there. That is where I watched every single Pomona. That is where I watched my heroes go down the track. That's where I watched Tony Schumacher make the run. Like, I distinctly remember being there Sunday night under the lights.
Had to make it.
And set a record.
You had to back it up.
Yeah.
Back it up.
Like,
right.
that is where I grew up, is in those grandstands. And so going back to Pomona is always special.
Wow.
Yeah, and you had a chance to compete there. That and if I'm not mistaken, is that when you ran your father's livery?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that, believe me, it pulled at the heartstrings. I knew that my first time going to Pomona in a top fuel car, I was going to make my dad proud and do his livery. And so he was known for the blue and white car. And it's just cool because all it says on the side of it is Baldwin Racing. And that's what I am now, you know. So it just, in turn, it made it even better is that actually my dad's ashes are at the in the sand trap at Pomona.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I get to Pomona with the livery. Everyone's coming out with their Bobby Baldwin shirts. All our old crew guys are there. They all have their old starting line shirts, and it's just a kick-ass weekend. Championship Sunday. This Sunday is going to determine who is going to be the world champion in top fuel. I have Mike Salinas. Mike still had a chance. If he would have gone around me and a couple other people would have lost, he could have been the world champion.
Yeah, mathematically, he was not out.
Yep. No pressure, right? Woo! So I am under the tower at Pomona. We actually have a little bit of a delay. Whoever was in front of me had an oil down. So me and my best friend, Katie Butera, we're sitting there. We're joking because we're both nervous as hell. So we're just cracking jokes with each other. I'm still in the race car. Round the corner. It's all right. This is it. Game day. All right. Go out there for the burnout backup. And I just remember, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stage last because the last couple times I ran Mike, there's been a little tension. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take my time. Take a couple breaths, get in the right mind space, whatever it may be. Hit my visor, bump it in, hit the gas. Knew I wasn't on a fast run, but knew I was still going down the track. And I blew the tires off about half track. I'm like, oh, but I don't hear him. I'm like, huh. And literally, I go through the 1,000-foot and the scoreboard lights up on my side. I'm like, no, wait, I just won a round win at Pomona with my dad at the end of the racetrack, in my dad's car, with all of my dad's crew and all of my family up in the grandstands. That was, thus far, has been the absolute best moment of my career. And it's so funny because that weekend, NHRA on Fox actually put an inboard or like a visor cam on me. And they're like, we've never done a visor cam on a top fuel dragster. We want you to try it. I said, okay, no problem. You literally see me fist pumping in the air. Like, I can remember seeing the photographers down the wall, like going like this to me. And I'm jumping up and down.
Awesome.
And,
I was sitting there with Lori. Frazier.
Oh, yeah.
And she was so jacked. We were on the right side.
It's so I go down and obviously I wave to my dad every time I make the pass through the shutdown area. I wave to my dad. I'm like, yeah, Dad, we did it. Like, we did it. And I just remember how excited and pumped up I was. So I stay down there. Amanda Busick does the interview with me. And so someone has to take me back on a golf cart because my car has to go. Like, we won. We got to get ready for the next round, right? And so Amanda does the interview with me. I'm crying because I'm just like, all the feels are right here, right? And then the coolest moment, I make that corner around the grandstands. Everyone stood up and clapped for me. It's like, if that's not hometown hero vibes, I don't know. Like, it literally still gives me chills.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, it was such a cool feeling that, like, I am doing this. I'm doing this in front of my dad, and I'm doing this because I'm going to be here for a long time.
And I'm going to ruin Salinas' chances.
That's it.
That ended up being honestly, the first thing that crossed my mind was I'd have gone over to him and said, I'll throw this round if you'll sponsor me for half the year next year. But listening to your whole story, wouldn't trade that for anything in the world.
Nothing.
It was,
and the Salinas deal is a whole total sidebar.
yeah.
I mean, the fact that it happened to be him that lost and it
Could have
affected the
been
championship.
whoever.
But hearing the meaning of your family and your friends and all the old Baldwin shirts there and your father being there, you don't give that up.
It was
incredible.
awesome. Like, I could literally cry right now just thinking about it. But no, that just solidified that this is where I want to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. And this is what I'm working hard towards.
Awesome stuff. What a great story. And we're far from done. We'll be right back.
Not only am I a third generation driver, I'm also a third generation team owner. And I'm actually the only woman team owner and driver in the pro ranks of NHRA.
Want to get the skinny on other guests and different types of motorsports? Check out our YouTube page and get the skinny. The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. And American Coach, innovation is our life force.
Welcome back to the Skinny. Boy, we have had a wonderful guest on here this week, and Miss Krista Baldwin. Just some incredible stories, and of course, the legacy of her grandfather and her family racing history. By the way, I just want to touch on this real quickly for the fans, because I think the first thought is whenever you said your father had passed, and I had mentioned it as well, they probably think on a race car, but it was a brain aneurysm that nobody was anticipating, so it had nothing to do with racing.
No, it didn't. Actually, one day he was at the grocery store and he passed out. He came home. We took him to the hospital, and later that night he was gone.
Yeah,
Just
so
boom.
really sorry to hear that, but I wanted to clear that up for the fans here that are watching. Talk to us about what you're doing now. I mentioned before that you work with and for Paul Lee, both the race team and in business. Everybody that I've chatted with about you prior to this show says you work incredibly hard. They wonder how you get it all done, actually. So, and seeing your energy, I get it. But talk to us about what you're doing now. What's the future look like? Are you going to be doing some races this year? I know you put Spencer Massey in the car just recently at Norwalk. Unfortunately, did not qualify despite running an 81. Nonetheless, you obviously are working hard to get back in.
Yes, absolutely. So, the change of the tides this year was I actually bought Pat Dakin's whole operation.
Okay.
And so not only am I a third generation driver, I'm also a third generation team owner. And I'm actually the only woman team owner and driver in the pro ranks of NHRA. So that I find
It's awesome.
it's
Outstanding.
Very awesome.
it's kind of a baller move. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that.
It's
That
I had
is-
looked
it's
something
amazing.
up, and you saying that reminded me of something. You won the SEMA Businesswoman's Network Athena Rising Star Award 2017. So clearly warranted. Even back in 2017, people saw it inside of you, and you're making it happen.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is in order to do this, you have to have some tough skin. Obviously, with all these boys in this room in the industry, it gets a little rough, but you know what? I'm up for the challenge because you know why? Because I absolutely love driving that race car. It's literally the thrill of my life. The actually physically getting in the car, I literally live off of that. It's not about the fame. It's not about, all the things that come with it. It is driving that monster of a car. That's what gets me going. And that's what I literally go through a run in my head every single day. Every time I wake up, I'm still laying in bed. I literally go through a run in my head just to keep myself sharp, to keep myself an eye on where I need to go and what I need to do. And all the hard work I'm doing is coming to fruition in the race car. And I think the fans are seeing that too.
This is a great platform and a great time to acquire some help. So somebody that's watching right now, how can they get in touch with you? What would you tell them to do to help you out?
So you can shoot me a message on any of the major social media platforms. But in order to help me, the marketing partner is what we need. I have the car, I have the crew, I have the crew chief, I have the tune-up, I have everything to make this work, but I only have enough to make it work 5 to 8 times a year. And so in order for me to make the next step, which is being a more consistent car, being able to run for the countdown, I'm going to need a marketing partner to make that work. And obviously, I know what has to happen on the business side of this too. Obviously, the time of, a business giving a sticker and putting on the side of the car and just getting TV coverage is not what you need to do anymore.
It's a piece of the puzzle.
Yep, it is. And now it's the B2B things. How can my current partners help you on the business side of things and we make a return on your investment? But you also, it's still pretty cool to go 330 miles an hour with your name on the side of the car. But I also,
There's that. Just saying.
there's that too. But I understand that there needs to be multiple layers into a partnership to make it work. And so I have wonderful partners right now, including Paul Lee at McLeod. He has been fostering my career since I've met him, which was almost 10 years ago now. And we can make it work. I know I can make it work. I just have to find the right partner.
Incredible stuff. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Great story.
Thank you for having me,
That's
guys.
a great story, and we couldn't wish you more, good luck and making this dream come true. You've come a long, long ways. It's never easy. It's not easy for anybody, but you've scrapped pretty hard. So congratulations.
Yes. And, I only have to do this for another 70 years, according to Grandpa. So.
Right. Yeah, if you're going to match him, you got a long road ahead.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Wonderful stuff. I hope you enjoyed the show, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Krista Baldwin is absolutely outstanding. Keep your eyes on her. And for any potential marketing partners out there, I can't think of a better person to join up with. So that's the skinny on Miss Krista Baldwin. Thank you very much.
Thank you.